So at the time of the year where we have some Australian racing first thing on a Friday morning, as we head towards the peak of the spring racing season in Australia, we start to see Moonee Valley appearing on a Friday. We had some group racing last week and some lower quality racing this week. However, it's perfectly tradable, even if it is a little bit lower liquidity, and it occurs within a sort of friendly time zone as far as we're concerned, because it's the evening over there and it's the morning over here. You don't have to get up at 3 a.m. to trade this type of racing. And from this point onwards, we get 1 or 2 cards on a Friday that you may want to try your luck with. Now, before you do that, make sure you watch the video that I produced on Australian racing, because it contains some really key information. It's important that you watch that before you even set foot on Australian racing. You'll understand why when you watch that video. But let's have a look at the trade that I did this morning at Moonee Valley. Please like and comment on this video. That will allow me to produce better quality videos and more of them. And if you're interested in learning from somebody that's been doing this for over 20 years, then subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you want notification of new videos as they're released. So if you trade an Australian race, one of the things you'll notice is the ladder is in an unusual order. You can see that we are basically looking at something at sevens, something at 20s, fours, and then the favourites on the fourth ladder. And that's because they do it by saddle cloth. So you can see it says 1, 2, 3, 4, and if we click on this button at the top, that will reorder the ladder in order of favouritism, which is probably what you're used to. So if we look at this particular market, we can see there's been a bit of support for the favourite, and that's gradually been coming in. The second favourite's not so strong, and you can see basically that, I mean, this market's dominated by the favourite being backed. And you can actually see that we've seen a bit of backing activity there. So that confirms more or less what we think. And we're not going to chase the price in because we'll get worse value. So we've just put some orders above where the current price activity is in the hope that we get filled on some of those and can establish a position in the market. So I'm going to establish a position of around £500. That's my target position, and that's based upon how much liquidity I think the market's going to do, and therefore how easily I can get the trade out. That's typically how I will scale a trade in. I'm just looking for an opportunity to put a certain amount in, and that amount is at a level where if it all goes horribly wrong, I can just dump the trade and get out with a minimum of loss. So I've decided it's going to be about £500 in this market. I'm going to put the closing positions ahead of where the current price activity is. I'm anticipating that the price is going to go down in that particular direction. And then we just have to sit and wait for this market to develop. It's a little bit slower. Moonee Valley on a Friday that is not a group race is always going to be a bit lighter on liquidity. And also we're about 5 minutes out here or so. But the volume arrives in Australian racing in a fairly similar manner to that which you see when you're looking at UK racing. But obviously we're talking quite sort of small numbers here in terms of the average UK race. So you expect the market to be a little bit slower, which is exactly what we're experiencing here. See, the second favourite is sort of just gently going out. So it seems that most of the money is being matched up at that level. We need the price on the favourite to start establishing new lows, but seeing the second favourite going out is obviously going to support that. So that would be something that would be pretty useful. I'm going to put some new orders in there because I didn't get those orders filled at 230, 232. I just center the ladder. There we go. And this will, oh, there we go, nice little move up on the second favourite. That should help get us filled on the favourites and pull the price in a little bit further. So I need to look at where I would ideally want to exit some of the other points. I've currently got £200 in unmatched bets, £200 that needs to be filled on the lay side. And I do have £300 sat here on the back side waiting to get filled as well, but obviously we're a little bit out of the money on that particular position. So we'll just wait for the order to get filled, keep an eye on the second favourite. Looking at what's happening on the favourite as well. and the trade is progressing slowly but surely. So we're looking okay at this particular moment in time on this trade. A little bit more laying activity on the second favourite. That's pushing it above 5. So ideally, if it stays above there, then that will be fairly beneficial for us. Now, there was a little bit of activity there. Sent the favourite out, sent the second favourite in, so can't particularly decide whether this was coming in, whether a large order came in and battered that back down to about 5s, or whether we just saw a lay on the favourite, or both. It could have been both. But the thing that we're looking at here on the favourite is we're quite well into the money. You can see there's plenty of green space over here. So this allows us to buy some time. We did get another order filled, which is why we left those up there. We got it filled at a really nice position up here at 230. So we now have £400 committed in the market. So I'm going to drop some more orders back in to continue our closure of this particular trade. So you can see by actively managing the trade there, we didn't panic when the price sort of belted in one direction. Right? It actually worked beautifully in our favour. This is a common problem. You can still see we're a little bit out on here, so I'm going to add some more trades in, some more closing trades on the left. But this is one of the benefits of scaling in and out of your trade, is you give yourself plenty of time to think about what's going on. Let's drop a couple more in here, cancel one below it. So we've got £200 waiting to get filled. £200 needs to be matched. Got about 2 minutes before the off here. And we've kept control of this trade pretty nicely. We can see the second favourites staying above 5s, despite that little bip, and there's continued pressure on the favourite to come in. But we're now looking at the clock thinking, well, we really need to get this position out. That's, you know, one of the most critical things for us to do here. So just waiting to get filled at 218. And all we can do now is just wait for these orders to get filled. If they're not filling fast enough, because we only have a minute and a half or so left, then we just need to keep pulling those orders up until they get filled. Plenty is getting filled at 220 and 222. So I'll just move it up into that particular area. Not much has been matched at 218. And there's a little bit of money coming at 220 here. So you can see plenty of money is being matched at these two price points. Second favourite still drifting slightly. But there's, you know, £1,000 or so waiting, but we are at the front of the queue, so I'm just going to leave that there, because if any money gets matched, it will take our £50 at 2.2. So there's a lot of money there, but we must be somewhere near the front of the queue, so I'm just going to sit that out and wait. About a minute left. And more. There we go. I was beginning to wonder whether that was going to fill. Now that that money's gone, the price may sort of start to head in a little bit more, but we're just going to hedge our position here. So we've made £44, which is about $88. And it's going to be £20 hedged across the entire field, or about $40 hedged across the entire field. A little bit more backings come in late on there, but it was too late for us because we're very close to post time. So yeah, we've hedged that for a total profit of £20 or about $40, regardless of who goes on to win this particular race, which will start in the not too distant future. So I hope that that video was useful for you. There was something ironic about this particular trade, because unfortunately during this race there was a fall and the jockey had to go to hospital, so the race was actually voided. So I made nothing on this particular race. Slightly frustrating, I think you will find. However, the rest of the card I did trade, and that went pretty well. And indeed, at this time of the year, especially when the quality starts to pick up, it's very worthwhile having a look at some of these races. But anyhow, I hope that that video was useful for you.